Well, I'd like to welcome you all to our Saturday webinar, and we're really excited to be here and be presenting over the next few weeks some of what we've learned over the last 7 years. And with much gratitude, we are in front of you today. Just one last round of introductions before we mute the line. If you've just come on here, have not had a chance to say hello, please go ahead and do so now.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, welcome.
From Michigan.
Okay.
Hi, Art. Carol from Ontario.
Hello, Myra Lakewood Ranch, Florida.
Okay, welcome.
Yvonne and Eva Marie from Kashmir, Washington.
Okay, great.
Oh, yes, twice here.
Ed Scott is here in Portland.
Okay, welcome. Well, let's go ahead and get the ball rolling here. So, yes, here we are. 7 years of wisdom. It is hard to believe that it has been 7 years. We've learned so much. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all that we've learned over the last 7 years, and we're updating it, of course, and got some brand new stuff even today. And they're going to be presenting it over the summer every couple of weeks or so. And so the first one we're calling is the 7 years of success, and giving you some of the keys to what we feel like are our success. And so you can see a picture of Terry and I, what we're look like when we're all dressed up, but I could not do a presentation without showing you, of course, what I look like when I'm working out on our deck here with my phone, and actually I do this all the time. And there's my famous slippers that I am wearing right now. In fact, that's pretty much what I look like right now when I'm working from home. So we love working from home, and we've got 5 acres here in the middle of a 700-acre reserve. Flowers, trees. You can see the beautiful Japanese maple in the background. Terry's been out there playing today. So, but this is what a lot of people look like when they're going to work, isn't it? Isn't this amazing? You know, just look at this picture. I mean, and I had this epiphany a couple of years ago. You know, we're cocooners. We like to work from home. And one day we were, going out on the freeway. We had a meeting, a Zango meeting, actually about an hour and a half. So that's a lot of work, right? We had to get all dressed up, and we had to organize everything and leave early, and we went up and we had dinner, and then we're heading over to the meeting. It's around 5 o'clock. It's dark. It's windy. It's rainy, and we're like parked on a freeway. You know how it goes, traffic jams. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these people are doing this every single day. and it's like, I just think this is better, don't you? Isn't that a better way to work? So anyway, where did it all get started? Actually, that's on what I call Deck 5, and of course we did all of this after Zango, and waterfalls and decks and things like that. And I like to go down on Deck 5 there and take some 3-way calls. So how did it get started? Well, actually our career in networking started in 1983. We were in the real estate business. I don't know if there's anybody old enough to remember on the call here. Probably there's a few of us that interest rates were sky high in the early 80s, up to 20%. And we had made a lot of money, and we were in the process of losing it all back. We were heavily in debt, and we had a friend of ours. There he is. It's the only picture I could find of him. His name is Larry Shine, that we had known from the real estate industry, that had gotten into networking. Now, Larry never really been very successful at anything, and we kept hearing rumors about all of this money that he was making while we were struggling, just wondering if we could avoid bankruptcy and so on. And, he'd made several $100,000 and had this incredible success. And so we got involved. Larry took us under his wing. And actually, we had quite a bit of success in our very first opportunity. And I just love this picture I happened to find on Google Images. Life is a beautiful struggle, because in many ways, that's what it was like. Certainly financially, we went through a long period of struggle from that very first opportunity, trying to find something that would work. And, we had all kinds of problems and things that went wrong. And actually, we kind of reached a low point in 2001. Here's a picture of our famous truck. Yes, through many of those years, this was our primary method of transportation. And as I like to say, its beauty was within. And it was. It was a beautiful truck. It would never let me down. It would never break down on the freeways. In fact, one time I drove home, pulled up in front of our house, and the brakes went out. I mean, that's the kind of truck it was, And I really don't want to talk about all the things we did from the back of that truck just to survive, but we paid $600 for this truck and put on 100,000 miles. But at this point in 2001, I really was fed up. You know, we were facing more financial problems. Terry had some challenges with her health and things back, and we were like getting the double whammy here. And I just got fed up, and this is really where I see our whole life changed, at least from a business standpoint. I had this day where I was just sick and tired of living my life in lack. And it was like an epiphany, if you will. I recognized that most of my life, my daily life, was worrying about money and thinking about money and concerned about paying bills. And I wanted to know, I wanted to have the experience of what it would be like to not have to worry about money every single day of my life. You know, honestly, it's kind of like a refrigerator running in the background. You know, you don't notice when it comes on and comes off because you're used to the sound. I think most people are hung up on survival. And I wanted to know what would be the quality of my consciousness, if you will, if I took away that concern about money. And this willful determination came over me that I was going to change this, and I was going to do whatever it took to make this change happen. And actually, it started to change. You know, we started to make progress because I was no longer willing to sit in a comfort zone, and I was no longer to give in to all of my fears, and I was willing to stretch myself. But there we were in June of 2003. Don't you love this picture? That's a picture of the rug getting pulled out from underneath your feet. And because we were just with this company a few months, starting to make some pretty significant income, what we thought was significant at the time, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month was significant income at that time. And suddenly we woke up one morning in June of 2003, and no one was answering the telephones in that company. And that was our primary income stream. Well, I mean, once the shock wears off, you just kind of sit around and wonder what to do next. And in fact, that's what we did until we got this 13-page fax in June. Later on, a couple weeks later, actually, first part of July, I believe it was, wondering what to do next. We got this 13-page fax out of the blue talking all about this Exango company. You know, that's how we thought it was pronounced in the beginning. And, you know, I mean, they sent me an email. I was annoyed. You know, what's interesting about this story is I was so annoyed to get this fax out of the blue from somebody. You know, even by then, nobody was sending faxes anymore. And actually, the person wrote me an email. I kind of gave him a hard time. But I went online, and I started searching, and I came to the My Mangosteen website. And actually, Terry, you know, I can remember that day. It was like, I believe, a Saturday night. I called you into the office. We went online, and we watched a video just of Joe's story. You remember that?
Well, you know, Art, I'll never forget that moment in time as we had our two chairs together in this very old computer watching Joe's story. And I turned to you and I said, "This is the one. This is it." And he looked at me and he says, "What?" And I said, "No, this is the one. Get me some of that juice. This is very powerful stuff. I want that juice." And, you know, Art went along for a few days. He had to, you know, do all of his own little research. He had to find out about the founders, the company. He had to do all kinds of things. And it's like, I'd say to him, "Did you get me that juice yet?" And he says, "No, I have to look for a sponsor. You know, we've made so many mistakes in the past that this time I'm really going to do a lot of research and find a proper sponsor." And so I finally got that juice, and I was just so excited about being able to try it, and it tastes so delicious. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so it just so happened that Joe Morton, the very person we saw on the video, eventually we signed up, okay? So, you know, yeah, eventually I figured out what to do, and after Terry kept harassing me for the juice, we signed up around the end of July of 2003. But it just so happened that Joe Morton happened to be coming into the Seattle area for an already scheduled meeting. And we went there with a few of our friends, Rod and Shannon Culp and Yvonne and Eva Marie Sarda. And there was 5 of us there. And this is the Marriott Hotel in Seattle. In fact, you know, this is so cool because some of these pictures really bring back a lot of memories. We've been to a lot of meetings at the Marriott. But this first meeting, Joe was talking about this company and how he loved network marketing. And, you know, I realized that I'd lost some of my spark for it through all of the challenges that we'd had. But I asked him if he would spend some time with us after the meeting. and we went in. Actually, this is where we went, right in this lounge here, kind of in here in this corner table over there. We sat there with him for about an hour and a half after the meeting, and just asking him questions. First of all, in all the 20-plus years that we'd been working from home at the time, I had never once sat down with the founder of a company in a casual conversation, or even a personal conversation, or even a top executive. And here we were the very first night. I was so impressed with that, Terry, and I know you really had a lot of fun that night as well.
Well, you know, there was Art asking all the hard questions, and Joe had put a whole new bottle of juice in the center of the table. We were on this round table. And I remember the little waitress gal, she brought all little glasses, and everybody had their nice little ounce. And I said, well, that's great, but I know that my body really needs this juice. And for some reason, and I didn't really realize, I kept pouring it in my glass, and I kept drinking it. Well, lo and behold, if as 45 minutes went by to maybe an hour, I had drank most of that bottle. There was only a quarter of the bottle left, you guys. And I said, Terry, why would you do that? Your body is so sensitive. Like, you know not to do stuff like this. And this little voice said to me, well, Joe's not going to take the rest of that bottle home. You might as well finish it. And that's what I did, you guys. I finished that bottle of juice. And Joe had asked me earlier, you know, did I have some health challenges? And I said, yes, I have digestive issues in my stomach and what have you. You know, things that I've struggled for over years, always looking for natural things to help it. And he says, wow, you know, your body's really going to be happy with you tomorrow. And I'll never forget when we hugged that night, I knew that this company had a heart, because there was Joe Morton, and he hugged me. And he said, Terry, I'm so glad that you had the courage to drink that bottle of juice, because your body's going to love you tomorrow. And I was just in awe over him. If any of you have all met Joe Morton, or all the founders for that matter, they have such a caring heart. And that was life-changing for Art and I. That night we were 1K. And it was truly an amazing time for me to see somebody that had such sincerity and was building a business.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking at the time, Terry, is, wow, this guy is amazing, and he's smart, he's dedicated, he's got this great vision, and he's one of 6 founders. That there's 5 others, and probably all of them are just like this guy, and any one of them could have launched their own company if they'd chosen. So, you know, while I was dreaming about, you know, getting out of debt and wondering what it would be like to not have to worry about money every day, and once we launched the business, Terry started her own dream. And this is a picture of her old computer screen here, Terry.
Well, you know, Art, I'll never forget turning to you one Monday morning after we were we'd just come back from convention. And I said to you, you know what, I really want to make a change in our life. And for us to do that, I knew I was going to have to step out of my comfort zone. I was going to have to step out and step up. And I said, you know, I really want to help you. You know, over the last 20-plus years, I did a great job being the mail lady, and that was wonderful. But I wanted to do something that really meant something, because I had a lot of passion for this product. And as you can see, that's my computer and my little desk back then, and I could have put a picture of my car and a picture of Phuket, Thailand. And I really wanted a car, you guys. I had not had my own car for 22 years. I mean, that's way too long for any female to not have your car. And so I really wanted that particular car because I love my flowers and plants, and I knew that I'd be able to, you know, carry my flowers and plants in it. And Phuket, Thailand, I cannot tell you enough about that trip. That's the first trip that you go to with this company, as in they pay for everything. And when we went to Thailand, you know, my main purpose was to go and see the children and be able to take an empty suitcase. And you can't imagine what it's like to give a child in an orphanage a doll or a ball, or I brought ribbon for their hair. I mean, that was so powerful because these little girls had pink and colorful ribbons in their hair. You know, they had their own pencils. Some people brought pencils. And I remember Marlene Belingic, she brought lollipops. I mean, that was so exciting for her to be able to do that. These kids had never had a lollipop. Little did they know to take the paper off before they ate the lollipop. So that was a life-changing experience for me, for sure, and my dream come true.
Yeah, her dream definitely comes true. I'll show you a little picture of Thailand later. But in our next pivotal moment in our journey here with Zango was in November 2003. We went to our very first convention as 5K distributors, right? And, kind of sitting in the back. There was about 1,200 people there at that particular time. And we were sitting there looking around and feeling the energy, and I just had this feeling this is going to be huge. And there were 17 of us came to that very first convention on our team. And I'd like to thank all of those people because we came away from it with such a level of certainty. It really helped propel us. But there was a thing that happened during this, Terry, and it was just amazing. Lance and Janine Schiffman, that's them on the right. They're actually in our upline, and they just hit 200K already, and we were 5Ks, and we were sitting in the back, and we were looking at them on the stage. And something happened, During that event, we looked at each other, and what did we say?
We looked at each other in the eyes, and we said, that's us next year. And we both kind of pointed to the stage. And it's like we just knew that this was going to happen. And because Art and I were both on the same page, and because we had such a passion and such dedication, we had such certainty after that event. That's why events are so important, you guys, because the certainty that you take away from it, and you know that this company has such great products, it was amazing. And there we were, Art, as you can tell.
Yeah, I love this picture. Oh, gosh, that was us hitting 200K on the stage there with Gordon Morton. And, considering where we'd come from, all we'd been through in our life, the 200K was absolutely an exhilarating moment. And that's the part really where life-changing income really happens. You can get, 200K was pivotal for us. And, of course, we did the 200K trip to Venice. And here we are on one of those gondolas in Venice with the very own Joe Morton and Karen, his beautiful wife. So that was a phenomenal trip. And actually, also on that trip, we went to Heidelberg, Germany, and raced some sports cars. This is the kind of founders that we have. They dream about things to do for us and with us, that they had a dream of taking their leaders out on expensive sports cars. And here I am getting ready to get into this Porsche, and that's a whole other story. So, and Terry, there you are. There's that picture of the Mangosteen Resort and Spa. And at the bottom with us there, right at the spa, is Rod and Shannon Culp. And that was a very wonderful trip, wasn't it? And
it really was, It really was, as you can imagine, we were met at the front with an elephant, a baby elephant, and that was very powerful. But I'll never forget the first morning, Art. We got up, and the sun was rising, and, you're on a different time zone. You can't sleep. And so I can remember us running out, and there's a little, like a little walkway over the whole swimming pool, because the swimming pool went all the way around the complex. And we're there taking pictures of the sun coming up. And there's Joe Morton in the swimming pool doing laps. And he says, "Good morning, Art and Terry." And, I mean, you can't imagine what that's like. I mean, we had the whole resort just to Zango. It's the Mangosteen Resort. And all of the people there were from Zango. And so that really was truly an amazing trip for us, Art.
Yeah, that was a great experience. And now, so what happened? Isn't it amazing? What happened? How did we do this? And here's some ideas on that. First of all, we had a dream, right? We both had a dream, and we had a lot of passion for that dream. They weren't the same dreams, but we had a lot of passion for them. And then we created a goal, right? And our first goal that we really strongly created was to become that 200K premier the following year. I mean, we had a goal, and they weren't quite so easily defined, but that became a very significant goal. And then we knew the power of focus, and we knew that you can't just have a dream and make a goal without focusing on it every single day. And we'd actually get up every morning, and we envision ourselves standing on that stage, what it would feel like, what it would be like to be that 200K premier.
Yeah, I never forget what that was like, Art. The interesting thing about it, when I started working with you hand in hand and knew that I had to do some things that, I wasn't used to doing, like a conference call or a webinar or phoning people. Like, what would I say to these people? I'd say to Art. But what's so interesting is I knew that I was going to have to do some sacrifice that first year. And so what I did is I did not plant a garden that year. I did not fiddle with my flowers that year at all. I put all of that on the back burner. Sometimes you have to make some sacrifices. Sometimes you have to turn off the TV and actually do your Zango business. Sometimes you have to pick up the phone thinking that, well, what would that person say? And I'll tell you what, there were so many people that were so happy to hear my voice because remember, you guys, we're changing people's lives with this. And so it's very important to be able to step out of your comfort zone, step out of the area of where you think that, what would I do? Just do it, Help people, put them at the forefront and stop worrying about yourself because it's about helping others and you will be successful.
Yeah, that's awesome, Terry. And here's the thing, and this is where it all breaks down for people, So you can have the dream, you can have the goal, you can focus on your dream every single day, but here's the missing piece right here. And if I was to give you one success key that is very big, that last piece of the puzzle is what I would call action. You've got to have the dream, and you've got to act on the dream. This is not a movie. You have to actually do something. You have to call people. You have to follow up. You have to not only have the dream, you have to have the action behind it. And so that is the key to it. So, we've learned a lot. We have a lot of keys to success, I would say. And I'd like to cover one of the things that I have learned is that you've got to have all of your ducks in a row. You've got to have all the pieces of the puzzle. And so what's really important, of course, is having a company that you can trust and you can rely on, right? I would not go for – the vision, experience, and integrity of the management team is critical. But honestly, in all of our years prior to Zango, that's probably the last thing we ever look for is a management team. How do you search out management teams? But you want to avoid any kind of a startup company. You especially want to avoid companies launched by distributors that have never managed a company, and mom-and-pop operations will blow in your face. And so how does Zango fit in with that kind of criteria? Well, we have an incredible management team, of course, and we've just done over $2 billion our first 7 years in business. So obviously we have the company is solid. You can count on it. You can trust them, and they have a heart, don't they? $40 million given to children's charities so far, Terry, through their, it's called the Zango Goodness Foundation.
That is amazing. You guys, when we were doing the business, we only had the juice. We went all the way to 500K with just the juice. And then you can imagine all of those bottles of juice that we got out. A portion of that money goes to the children. There's nothing quite like the Operation Smile, being able to put a smile on a child's face. The most rewarding thing, if I was to look back on it, was what you're able to do with your money, is to be able to buy a smile. I can remember when my mom had passed, and the following year it was the anniversary of her passing, and I bought my dad a smile and put it in my mom's name. And he got this little card in the mail, and he was so excited to think that I had thought about her at that particular time, but that my dad got this wonderful card from Zango showing that I had bought a smile for a child. That's when it's rewarding, you guys. That's when we're able to help people.
Yeah, that's the kind of company we're with, and sort of product is the next thing, right? And that's the foundation, of course. You've got to have products that have real benefits. And I've been with companies in the past that had products that sounded good, and they had all kinds of doctors all backing it up. But at the end of the day, it's results that people are looking for. And if they don't feel like your product is doing anything with them in 30, 60, or 90 days, then the game is over. So the products have to be absolutely unique, and the story has to be very, very compelling. You can't copy other companies and have an opportunity that will continue to grow into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So obviously, Zango has this covered. We have incredible category-creating products launching here with our flagship juice. And actually, this is a picture of a bottle that our son took in Hawaii that won an award for a judge's award. He's up high on this rock taking a picture of the bottle. But it's a phenomenal company. Now we have a whole range of products that all are very cleverly designed to create categories of their own and really help people. And we've all seen the results of these products for ourselves. Compensation plan, that's important, right? And what are you looking for in a compensation plan? Well, there's a lot of illusion and deception out there in this area. And honestly, it's almost impossible for an ordinary person to figure out what any company is paying out these days. And a lot of companies actually count on you not qualifying for commissions because they get to keep the change if you don't. Or their front-end loading compensation plans, they want $500 or $1,000. Or why would you need $1,000 worth of products today if you're just starting your business? So Zango does not front-end load. what we do, Zango's compensation plan, and they, besides everything else, pay out a clean 50%, what I call a pure 50%. They pay out every single dollar of it. It's clean. It doesn't have any games in it. But the thing is, it's designed for one thing in mind, to create residual income from products that people like and they use over and over and over again. And so we have a phenomenal compensation plan that we happen to think that you can make more money with less time and less people than any other compensation plan in the industry. But another thing you've got to have in your opportunity, if you really want to have your whole package, is systems. And honestly, this is where the rubber meets the road. And while I would never join a company for a system, well, at least not anymore anyway. In fact, we did, the company just before Zango, we joined because of their system, and that blew up, right? So the system isn't everything, because if you don't have the foundation of the product and the company, then obviously the system isn't going to be worth much. But this is the question that everybody has once they see the Zango story. Can I do this? The how becomes critical. So you've got to have a system. We're going to be talking about systems more a bit later here. The final piece of the puzzle, and the system, what it does is it gives you a track to run on. I meant to show that. It shows you how to do it step by step. But the final piece of the puzzle to me is teamwork. You've got to work as a team. This is a business that's very difficult to do by yourself. So daily contact and third-party credibility is essential. Once again, it's the teamwork that makes the dream work. So that's what I call the ultimate success circle. Don't we have that whole thing in our hands here with Zango, what I call the ultimate success circle? So, Terry, this is what we have in our hands here, right?
Yeah, we've got an amazing opportunity here. We've got amazing products. We're going to help change the world, you guys. Especially the world right now really needs something. It needs a product to help people with their health, but it also needs someone to help them with their abundance. And there's nothing greater than to be able to help somebody that even you guys, if they're making $500 or $1,000, they're able to pay for their car payment, their house payment, where people are losing their houses right now. I think it's really important right now to get the message out so that people are able to, fulfill some of their dreams. That's what Zango stands for. Zango stands for their dreams. And we certainly have been able to fulfill our dreams. So, get the word out there and share the product and the business with them.
Okay, so let's shift the gears a little bit here now. What we're going to talk about is the 3 steps to success in Zango. And this is what we've learned. This is very, very simple and very, very powerful. And there's 3 basic steps if you want to create success in Zango. The first step is the invitation, okay? Now, the invitation is not a presentation. It's an invitation, okay? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to invite others to look and listen to information about your products and your opportunity, okay? The second step is the presentation, okay? Now, the key with the presentation is that you should let the tool make the presentation. You shouldn't be doing the presentation yourself. And so there's lots of ways to make presentations, right? There's CDs, I think, are some of the most powerful way to make presentations, because if you can get people to listen to them, particularly when they're driving their car, right? It's a captive audience. Webinars are very, very powerful tools for making presentations, in my view, because once again, you have a captive audience. A website, to me, is not a great presentation tool. It's more like an information tool, and I like to use the website more as a follow-up to the presentation. Of course, live meetings can be presentations. There could be lots of different kinds of presentations. And what you want to do, though, is use all of the tools available and make sure that you're not using the presentation. Now, these tools should be the tool that's right for the person, not necessarily right for you, right? So I can remember this guy calling me up one time and saying, Art, I'm really not having a lot of success. Well, give me an idea what you did recently. Well, I met this guy in Mexico, I gave him an information pack, and he doesn't seem to be interested. I said, well, what was your conversation with him about? Well, he had some problems with his scalp, and I thought the juice might be able to help him. I said, well, what tools did you give him? Well, I gave him the $1 million secret and something else. So give the right tool for the job. Now, step 3 of the system is follow-up. Now, this should never be done alone. This should be you with your future partner on with a coach or a mentor. And this is where a lot of people break down, is in the follow-up and trying to do it by themselves. So that's the 3 steps to the system. So remember not to be the lone wolf here. The lone wolf is something that I've been over the years, but you've got to work as a team, work together, okay? So who do you invite? That's the question a lot of people have, Terry, and I know that you have some thoughts on the kind of people and the idea that you want to bring to people that you're going to be inviting.
Well, I think it's really important to think about the person. I know what Art and I did when we first started is we sat down and we said, okay, let's write down, 50 to 100 people that we know. And you really want to think about not just your neighbors and not just your family. I know we always go to family first. And I'll tell you what, family are the hardest people. I know you care about them, but not everybody wants to be well, and not everybody wants to be successful in network marketing. But you want to stretch yourself. You want to go beyond your boundaries and to be able to help other people, whether it's friends that you know for 20 years, and now we've got Facebook. I mean, what can I say? You're able to find people a lot easier with that. So I think you need to just kind of stretch out of your comfort zone of people that you've known for quite a while.
Yeah, and we're going to show you, okay, so here's the 3 markets that I've been teaching, for the last number of years. We have the cold market. This is people that you don't know, right? And if you're going to find people in the cold market, you've got to advertise. Certainly the greatest market is the war market. That's the people that you know. And then the 3rd market, which is a kind of a phrase that I came up with a number of years ago, called the meat market, the people that you meet every single day. And as you can see from this, if you want to think about all the candidates and prospects that you have as widening the funnel there, whoops, a little action here in Home Central. The wider the funnel, the more people are, and the more candidates going in the funnel here, the more they will come out of the bottom. Now, here is the one challenge. So if the biggest market is the war market, and if you think of the war market as this target here, and we're looking to find just maybe 3 high quality people, right, and hit the target with them. But a lot of people will say, I don't have enough people. I don't know enough people. Well, statistics show you, depending on who you listen to, you know anywhere from 250 to 1,000 people, honestly. A war market person is just simply someone that would remember your name or would remember a connection with you. It is just any kind of a connection you've ever had in your life. And so let's say that the people that you know very, very well, your close friends and family, are the people in the center of your target here. And naturally, you're going to start with these folks, but sometimes, they are the hardest, right? The people you know the best. If you go out a little bit further, you will get out into people that you know quite well, and you see them regularly, but you're not involved in their daily life. As you move further out from the target, you enter a wider circle here, don't you? Now, these are what we would call acquaintances, old friends, people you haven't seen for a couple years, people that you see at work, but you don't really know what's going on in their life. And as you move out further into here, into the biggest circle of all, these would be people that you have known at some point in your life. And some of these at the close circle might be a friend from 5 years ago or somebody that babysat your children, whereas in the outer circle, it would be somebody that you just bumped into at a reception for a bank or something, and you passed business cards and you had just the slightest interaction. This is all your war market. And you've got to get out into your outer circles if you've completed your inner circles. And guess what happens, guys? There's a clue here that when you get further out into these outer circles of your war market, you have more credibility because they don't know. You could already be a 6-figure income earner. You could already own $1 million house. you actually can have more credibility with the people that you don't know so well. So push your warm market out wider, get out into the wider circles here, and start inviting people that you don't know so well. You will never run out of people to contact. And I've said in the past, in the meat market, you're meeting people every single day. And if you say to me, I don't know anybody, I say to you, go get $20 worth of gas at 4 gas stations, and you've just met 4 new people. So it's never about not knowing enough people or not contacting enough people or not having enough people to contact. It's never about that. It's about the will to do it. The will to do it is what is important here.
And I think it's about asking yourself the question, what's in it for them? I think that's really important, Art, because, too often we don't really look at that person and examine it and say, well, she's got a broken arm. Maybe she's got inflammation in that arm. That juice is great for her. What's in it for them, not for yourself. Always look after your people, and you will always be looked after.
Yeah, that's true, Terry. What's in it for them? So that means thinking about them, right? That means wondering about them. That means actually, putting yourself in their shoes and finding out what their hot button might be, right? What would be their reason? Why would they be interested in something like this? It's not about what's in it for you. It's about what's in it for them. So let's get into some tips of inviting. If the whole key to your success is about making invitations, let's talk about some of the tips. Of course, it starts with making a list. And we've just taught you how to expand your list, right? Then I suggest having what I call a list meeting. Once you've made your list, get together with your sponsor or your upline or a sideline or your wife or whatever and talk about the people on your list. And then what you want to do is come up with your invitation. Now, I haven't got a slide on this, but the invitation is, to me, there's 3 parts to a good invitation. So I want you to write this down. To me, an invitation is about your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What have you found? Connecting it with their why, what's in it for them, and then adding some key phrases to it. Your why, connecting with their why, and adding key phrases to it. And so then you would take what it is that you're going to say in this regard, and you would write it down. And you would it's so important to write this down. I would never pick up the phone and try to present an invitation to somebody unconsciously without thinking about what it is that I'm going to say. And I don't want you to have a script necessarily, but by writing it down, it goes into your brain, and you start to remember what it is that you're going to say, and then it should flow out of your mouth. And I'm going to give you a sample invitation in a second here, but let me go through the rest of these tips. Okay, I've got it there. Your why, their why, key phrases. The next thing, of course, is to be excited. It isn't so much what you say, it's how you feel about what you say. But you've got to be detached from the outcome. So let me give you an idea what a good invitation would sound like, So it's about your why. So you might call somebody up on the phone, and you say, hey, John, yeah, listen, this is Art. I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I've been thinking about you for the last few days. Pause. Why am I doing that? I'm letting him at least say something and interact. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, what's up, Art? Well, listen, you know me. I mean, I'm always been looking for some other way to make money because I'm struggling, and I know you know that. Well, guess what? I found something. Pause. We don't want this to make a pitch. We want this to be an invitation. Pause. I found something. And he's probably going to say, what? I mean, that's what you're waiting for. What? What did you find? If you can get a what from him, he's opened the door for you to tell him what it is. Well, listen, John, I mean, I don't know if this is for you or not. Takeaway. This is a key phrase. This is a key phrase. I don't know if this is for you or not. But from what I remember, you hate that job you're in. And you like nothing better than to work from home. That's what I remember about you. And so I'm working on this new business project, and I really would like you to have a look at it. What's your schedule looking like in the next 24 hours? Go right for the appointment. Go right for the appointment. See, did you get that? So you might be different for every single person. depending on what his why was. Now, sometimes you don't know exactly what their why might be, and so your invitation won't be quite as strong as that. So some of the key phrases are, under ordinary circumstances, I wouldn't even bring this up, but it just so happens I found something. Pause. You know, I don't know if this is for you or not because it takes the pressure off. I'm just looking for a few people. I can only talk to a few people about this. That's an invitation that has power, and if you can connect your why with their why, suddenly they're interested enough, and then you go right for the appointment. What is your schedule looking like in the next 24 hours? You're not going to make a presentation now. You're going to set up the presentation, and then you decide what tool. If it's a webinar, you plug them into a webinar. If it's a CD, what's your schedule looking like next 24 hours? I'm going to drop you off the CD. You know, if it's a meeting, what's your schedule looking like next 24 hours? Let's meet for a coffee. I've got something I'd like to show you. Maybe you bring a DVD player or something, or maybe it's even an appointment to meet your upline and he's going to explain it all. Okay. But it's still an appointment that you set. So the invitation should only be a couple minutes long, no longer than that. You're not going to talk about, see, we're leading with the business here in this particular example, not so much the product. So when you're going to lead with the business, you don't want to explain everything. If you were making an invitation to look at the product, of course you'd share your product story, a little bit of product information, but you still would not try to explain the product. You would let the tool do the presentation. So,
I think you always have to ask yourself is how can this be duplicatable? You know, it's kind of like when you talk to a doctor. You can't talk like a doctor at all. So you want whatever you do for any of your people, whether it's product or whether it's business, you want it to be duplicatable. Remember, you're not the issue. It's about presenting.
You know, and before I go on here and just to finish this thing on, the next thing that people get messed up on is the follow-up. And guess what you should be doing on the follow-up? First of all, you should be setting up the follow-up at the very end of your invitation. Okay? So if it was getting somebody to watch a webinar presentation, just before I would get off the phone, I would say to that person, oh, listen, by the way, gosh, right after, I'm just going to give you a quick call and just see what your thoughts were on it, okay? Now, when you do the follow-up, I'll just give you a clue here before we finish off today. When you do the follow-up, when you call somebody to follow up, I like to set another appointment. I don't like to do the follow-up right after. In other words, call them to set up an appointment for the follow-up. Hey, John, listen, I've only got a few minutes, but listen, I just want to have a talk about that business project. I know you looked at a presentation. What's your schedule looking like? I really need to get on the phone and talk about this. And then you set up your appointment with your three-way call. So I wanted to add that in. But Terry, it has been quite a ride, and yes, we did hit the 500K level beyond our dreams in 2006. Here's us on the stage there. Very exciting, of course. And I don't know that we could have really dreamed that up. Sometimes things outrule your dreams. And I know it's meant a lot to you, some of the changes that are happened in our life. And here's a picture of us recently in Hawaii, Terry.
Yeah, it was so rewarding. You know, the last 2 years we've been able to bring all three of our kids. And Krista turns 40 this year, and we're very excited about that. And so we decided to have our little birthday party in Hawaii, invite the other two children along. So we were able to pay their way. And there's nothing more rewarding. I mean, you guys, this is what the money is for. It's for being able to share things with your family or friends and to do things that are totally outrageous. So, yeah, it was a great weekend with them, Art.
Yeah, and so how has our life changed? You know, well, I don't have to worry about money. And what's cool about it is I don't have to think about how much things cost, you know. Now, let me give you a funny little example here to finish off the call. This is me yesterday. And, you know, we love plants and we love to be in nature. And a couple of years ago, I had bought this hibiscus, which is a crazy plant to buy because it's tropical. And, you know, it can't really be outside. And you know, it has to be inside. And I brought it in the house, and it was too big, you know, and it just didn't fit. And so we put it on this very special spot on our deck in the corner that is covered over. And it lasted for about 5 months. Terry says it's never going to overwinter. We don't have room for it inside. And it bloomed all summer long until December. Okay? So we were in there yesterday, and I've been wanting another one of these, you know. But it's kind of outrageous, guys. I mean, this is $110 plant, okay, that you probably can't overwinter. So most people could not imagine spending over $100 on a plant that is maybe only going to last 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months. But if it brings you joy, do it, right? And so as we were leaving here, people were coming up to me, oh, wow, you got that hibiscus. I mean, everybody would have loved to have had this plant, but they didn't have the money. So it isn't the big things necessarily that change your life for me. Where like we got the car, and Terry got her car that you saw on the screen there, and we've done all kinds of renovations, but it's the freedom to make those little decisions, those little choices every single day, about buying an outrageous plant that may be only lasting for 6 months. And so, our life has completely changed. We're grateful to be involved with this great company. We're grateful for all of you. A lot of you have played your part in helping us realize our dreams, and now, honestly, we've met most of our financial dreams. We're not motivated by money. We're motivated by helping other people, helping them succeed, get more freedom in their life, help them grow personally, and increase the level of joy in their life. Terry, anything you wanted to add before we finish?
Well, we want all of you to fulfill your dreams like Art and I have. I mean, these last 7 years have been so rewarding. It's almost very surreal for us. But, we've been working really close with our team because we see and we feel the potential that they have. And so we do this for them now. Art and I are fine financially, but we want our team to have all of these great adventures and excitement, and to be able to go into a garden shop like that for me is an amazing thing, to be able to know that I can buy 6 or 7 plants and to not have to worry about it. I mean, that's when life really does change. And so, yes, we would like to welcome all of you in the Zangle world and the Zangle family to fulfill your dreams as we have.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Going to open up the line so we can say goodbye. And thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys.